Sarah Mitchell's debit card was declined at 7:43 a.m. on a Tuesday morning while buying coffee. By 9:15 a.m., her mortgage payment had bounced. By noon, her employer called asking why the direct deposit reversed. By 3 p.m., Child Protective Services knocked on her door because her day care payment failed. Sarah hadn't committed a crime. She hadn't made a mistake. Her bank's algorithm had decided she was dangerous, and in 6 hours and 32 minutes, her entire life collapsed. This happened 4 months ago. The bank still has her money, and the 3 warning signs that could have saved her appeared 2 weeks before the freeze, signs she never knew to look for. Until now. Right now, at this exact moment, artificial intelligence systems are scanning your bank account. They're analyzing every deposit, every withdrawal, every transfer you've made in the past 90 days. These systems don't sleep. They don't take breaks. And they're programmed with one absolute priority: protect the bank, no matter the human cost. The algorithm monitoring your account right now has already flagged 643,000 Americans this year alone. That's 1,700 people every single day who wake up to discover their money has vanished into bureaucratic ice. The system doesn't care if you're innocent. It only cares if you look guilty, and the definition of guilty is far broader and more terrifying than you can possibly imagine. Let me take you inside the day everything changed for Marcus Thompson. Marcus is 42 years old, father of 3, owner of a construction company he built from nothing over 14 years of 18-hour days and missed birthdays. His company finally landed the contract he'd been chasing for 2 years, a $500,000 renovation project that would change everything. The client paid 30% upfront, $150,000, deposited via wire transfer on a Friday afternoon. Marcus watched the money hit his account. He felt his chest expand with pride. He called his wife. He promised the vacation they'd been delaying for 6 years. That night, he slept better than he had in months. Monday morning, his credit card declined at the gas station. Embarrassing, but not alarming. Maybe the chip malfunctioned. He tried again. Declined. He pulled out his debit card. Declined. He checked his phone, logged into his banking app, and saw the number that stopped his heart. 0. Not low balance. 0. $150,000 had simply disappeared. No notification. No email. No warning. Just gone. Marcus called the bank. The customer service representative said the words that would haunt him for months. Your account has been flagged for suspicious activity and is under investigation. We cannot provide additional information at this time. The freeze may last up to 90 days. Marcus tried to explain. He had documents. He had contracts. He had proof. The representative repeated the script. We cannot provide additional information at this time. Here's what happened next, the cascade that nobody warns you about. Marcus's mortgage payment bounced on Tuesday. The bank charged him a $35 fee and reported the missed payment to credit bureaus. His credit score dropped 68 points overnight. Wednesday, his equipment supplier ran his credit for a new order and denied him based on the sudden score drop. Thursday, 3 of his employees quit because their paychecks bounced. Friday, his general contractor pulled out of the big project because Marcus couldn't pay the material suppliers. Monday, the client canceled the contract and demanded the deposit back. The deposit Marcus couldn't access. The deposit frozen in his account while his life burned down around him. Before we go further, I need you to do something right now. If this story is making your stomach tight, if you're starting to realize how fragile your financial security actually is, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me your biggest banking fear. This information could save your financial life, and I need to know it's reaching people. Subscribe to Easy Finance, because we're the only channel exposing the systems that banks don't want you to understand. We're building a community of financially protected people, and I want you in it. Now let's talk about the 3 warning signs that appeared before Marcus's freeze. The signs he didn't recognize because nobody ever taught him to look. Warning sign number 1, the questions. 2 weeks before the freeze, Marcus received an email from his bank asking him to verify recent deposit activity. The email looked official but felt strange. It asked him to explain the source of deposits from 3 months earlier. Marcus ignored it, thinking it was spam or a phishing attempt. That email was the bank building a case file. When banks start asking you to explain your own money, they're not curious. They're investigating. Every question is a brick in a wall they're building around your funds. Answer immediately. Provide documentation. Take the questions as seriously as a court summons, because functionally, that's what they are. Warning sign number 2, the slowdown. 1 week before the freeze, Marcus noticed his outgoing wire transfer took 3 days instead of 1. He noticed a deposited check took 7 days to clear instead of 2. These weren't glitches. They were the bank manually reviewing his transactions, slowing everything down while they decided his fate. When your normal banking speed suddenly decreases, it's not technical problems. It's human interference. Someone is watching you. Warning sign number 3, the restrictions. 3 days before the freeze, Marcus tried to transfer money between his business account and personal account, something he'd done monthly for years. The transfer was blocked. He had to call customer service to complete it. That's the sound of a cage being built around you, one bar at a time. When access to your own accounts becomes difficult, when systems that worked yesterday don't work today, the freeze is coming. But here's the part that makes this truly terrifying. Sarah, the woman from the beginning of our story, received all 3 warning signs too. She got the email asking about deposits. She noticed her transfers slowing down. She experienced sudden restrictions. But Sarah did something Marcus didn't do. She walked into her bank branch, asked to speak to a manager, and explained her situation with documentation. The manager smiled, assured her everything was fine, told her the questions were routine compliance measures, and sent her home. 1 week later, they froze everything anyway. Because the manager doesn't control the algorithm. The branch employees don't override the system. The humans at your local bank are passengers on the same train you're riding, and none of them can stop it once the AI decides you're dangerous. So what exactly makes the algorithm flag your account? I obtained internal training documents from 3 major banks through Freedom of Information requests, and what I found should frighten every person watching this video. You are flagged as suspicious if you deposit more than $10,000 in cash within 30 days, even if it's your own money from your own legal business. You are flagged if you receive wire transfers from more than 3 different sources in a 90-day period, even if those sources are clients paying you for legitimate work. You are flagged if you make large purchases after receiving large deposits, because that matches the pattern of money laundering. Even though it also matches the pattern of normal human behavior when someone receives a paycheck or sells an asset. Here's the truly insane part. You are flagged if you suddenly start making less suspicious transactions after a period of normal activity, because the algorithm interprets behavior change as evidence that you knew you were being watched and modified your actions to avoid detection. Read that again. The system can flag you for looking suspicious and also flag you for stopping looking suspicious. It's a logical trap with no escape route, a maze designed by artificial intelligence that has learned to see criminal patterns in utterly ordinary behavior. The consequences extend far beyond frozen accounts. Jennifer Park, a real estate agent in Phoenix, had her account frozen after depositing commission checks from 4 different brokerages in 1 month. The freeze lasted 43 days. During that time, she couldn't pay her assistant, lost 3 clients who thought she was under criminal investigation, and had her rental application denied because the background check revealed the frozen account. When the bank finally determined she was innocent and unfroze her funds, they did so with no apology, no compensation, and no acknowledgement of the devastation they'd caused. Jennifer's career never recovered. She works retail now. The system is designed to prioritize security over humanity, and the numbers prove it. Last year, banks filed 2.7 million suspicious activity reports with the federal government. Of those reports, fewer than 12,000 resulted in actual criminal charges. That's a 0.4% accuracy rate, which means 99.6% of the people flagged as suspicious were innocent. 2.6 million innocent Americans had their names submitted to federal databases as potential criminals because an algorithm misread their normal behavior as evidence of fraud. And here's what makes this an urgent crisis right now in 2025. The algorithms are getting more aggressive. New federal regulations implemented in January require banks to flag accounts faster and freeze accounts longer. The average freeze duration has increased from 14 days to 38 days. The threshold for suspicious deposits has been lowered from $15,000 to $8,000. And banks now share flagging data with each other, meaning if one bank's algorithm flags you, all banks can see it, turning a single false positive into a financial scarlet letter that follows you everywhere. So how do you protect yourself in this hostile environment? I'm going to give you the 4-shield strategy that has successfully prevented freezes for members of the Easy Finance community who've implemented it. Shield 1 is obsessive documentation. Every significant transaction needs a paper trail you create before the bank asks for it. Selling a car? Keep the bill of sale, the title transfer, photos of the car with the buyer, and a written statement explaining the transaction. Receiving a family gift? Get a signed letter from the family member stating it's a gift, not a loan. Depositing business revenue? Keep invoices, contracts, and client communication proving the legitimacy of every dollar. Build your innocence file before you need it. Shield 2 is pattern consistency. Banks flag sudden changes, so avoid them whenever possible. If you're about to receive an unusually large deposit, call your bank 3 days beforehand and explain what's coming and why. If you need to make a large cash deposit, break it into smaller amounts over multiple weeks instead of one massive deposit. If you're starting a business that will change your banking behavior significantly, open a separate business account instead of mixing business and personal funds. The algorithm watches for anomalies. Become predictable. Shield 3 is relationship insurance. This is the shield most people ignore and later regret. Visit your bank branch monthly. Make deposits in person occasionally instead of only using mobile apps. Learn the names of tellers and managers. Become a human face instead of an account number. When the freeze comes, and it might, having a branch manager who knows you and can advocate internally is the difference between a 3-day investigation and a 3-month nightmare. Banks are businesses, but they're run by people, and people help people they know. Shield 4 is the most radical and most effective: account diversification. Never keep all your money in one institution. Spread your funds across multiple banks, credit unions, and even alternative financial services. If one bank freezes your account, you still have access to emergency funds elsewhere. The freeze becomes an inconvenience instead of a catastrophe. I know this seems paranoid. It seemed paranoid to Marcus and Sarah too. It seems a lot less paranoid when you're standing in a grocery store with a cart full of food and no way to pay. Now here's where I need you to make a decision. If you found this information valuable, if you're starting to understand the invisible threats surrounding your financial life, I need you to do 3 things right now. First, smash that like button so this video reaches more people who need this protection. Second, subscribe to Easy Finance and ring that notification bell because we release new financial protection content every single week. Third, and this is the most important, drop a comment right now telling me which warning sign you've experienced without realizing what it meant. Your story might save someone else's financial life. We're not just a channel. We're a community of people protecting each other from systems designed to protect banks at our expense. Join us. The banking system isn't going to change. The algorithms aren't becoming more forgiving. The regulations aren't getting looser. In fact, everything is moving in the opposite direction, toward more automation, less human judgment, and faster freezes with longer durations. Which means the only variable you control is your own preparation. Knowledge is the only defense against a system that sees everyone as potentially guilty. Sarah Mitchell's account was finally unfrozen after 71 days. She lost her apartment because she missed 3 rent payments. She lost custody of her daughter temporarily because child services interpreted the financial chaos as evidence of instability. She lost her job because her employer couldn't tolerate the drama and uncertainty. And when the bank finally released her money, they gave her a single piece of paper stating the investigation was complete and no wrongdoing was found. No apology, no compensation, no acknowledgement that they had destroyed her life over a false positive generated by artificial intelligence that will never be held accountable. Marcus Thompson's freeze lasted 56 days. His construction company went bankrupt. His marriage collapsed under the stress. He filed for personal bankruptcy 6 months after the freeze ended because the damage was too severe to recover from. Marcus now works for someone else's construction company, building someone else's dream, haunted by the knowledge that he did everything right and still lost everything. These are not cautionary tales from a distant past. These are warnings from last year, from people who live in your city, who bank at your bank, who thought exactly what you're thinking right now. That won't happen to me. I'm not doing anything wrong. They weren't doing anything wrong either. They were simply alive in a system that has learned to see crime and innocence. The freeze warning is silent. It's the email you almost delete. It's the transfer that takes 1 day longer than usual. It's the restriction you work around instead of investigating. And by the time you recognize the pattern, the ice has already formed around you. This is not about paranoia. This is about preparedness. This is about refusing to be a passive victim of systems designed without mercy. You now know the 3 warning signs. You now know the 4 shields. You now have the knowledge that Sarah and Marcus wished they'd possessed before their world shattered. What you do with this knowledge determines whether you're protected or vulnerable, whether you're prepared or helpless. The algorithm is watching right now. It's reading your transactions. It's comparing your behavior to millions of criminal patterns. And somewhere in its digital consciousness, it might already be deciding that you look suspicious. But you're not powerless. You're informed. You're prepared. You're part of a community that refuses to accept financial destruction as an inevitable consequence of artificial intelligence making human decisions. Share this video with everyone you love. Post it on every social media platform you use. Send it to your parents, your siblings, your friends who run small businesses or receive a regular income. This information is a shield, and shields only work when people know to pick them up. The rivers of money are freezing, but you know where the ice forms first. You know what it looks like before it's solid. And you know how to keep your wealth flowing even when winter comes for everyone else. That knowledge is power. That power is protection. And that protection starts right now, with your decision to take this seriously and act before the warning signs appear. Subscribe to Easy Finance, because your financial survival depends on knowing what the banks will never tell you.